Hey, JJ Peller here, and I'm excited to talk with you today about how great leaders ask better questions. Hey, no, no, no. Hey, no, no, no. Hey, no, no. Why do we want to know about great questions? As a great leader, why do we want to know about great questions? Now, the reason is this. If we truly want to understand how we can lead most effectively in any capacity, as a friend, as a family member, for ourselves, for the people we serve, for our clients, for those on our team, our employees, if we're a business owner, if we're a manager, we have to understand that to be a great leader, to be an effective leader and produce even greater results more consistently, we truly need to be great at asking questions. We need to be great at asking questions because it always comes back to understanding the people you're leading, to understanding the people you're serving. Because once we truly understand the people we lead, the people we serve, then we're better positioned to know exactly what we need to do to produce the outcomes. So today we're going to dive into 5 specific ways that we can ask better questions to become great leaders. So point number 1 in this sequence or this framework that I'm going to teach you with today is know the reasons. Know the reasons. Know the reasons for what? Know the reasons for the conversation. Now, if we're talking about asking questions, for the most part, well, we can always ask ourselves a better question, but I guess in the context of this video specifically, I'm talking about how do you ask better questions with the people that you lead, with your clients, with anyone that you're going to engage in conversation with. Now, if we're going to go into a conversation, we truly need to know the purpose of that conversation. What are the reasons that we're even having this conversation? Are we having the conversation because an employee is having struggles or challenges or they're not producing the results that we expect? Are we having the conversation because we need to brainstorm for better results for our team? Are we having the conversation because we're trying to talk with a prospective client so that they might be our client? Are we talking with an existing client so we can serve them better? Whatever the context is, we need to really truly start that conversation by truly knowing the reasons for the conversation. What are the reasons for the conversation? And therefore, then we know the reasons for asking the questions that we're going to start asking. And by the way, questions are vitally important throughout a conversation. What I'd offer to you is, how much of a priority do you make question asking in your regular day-to-day life? How important have questions been for your ability to lead effectively? How much time are you putting into developing your skills intentionally around question asking? Now, I don't know exactly how you answered any of these, but the point is to get ourselves thinking again about the power of questions and how important they are for our ability to really move the ball forward, to move the needle, however you want to view it, to help in our ability to really serve at a higher level. So number 1, we've got to start with knowing our reasons, not just our reasons, but the reasons for the conversation. So that includes what we want out of it, but it also mostly includes what's the other person need from it, or what do the other people who will be affected by this conversation need from this conversation? What has to result from this? What's the purpose? What are reasons why we're having the conversation? Why am I then asking these questions? And if we start from that place, we're in the best possible position to be as effective as possible in the sequence of questions that we will then ask throughout that conversation. Then the next step of this framework of 5 steps for becoming better at asking questions is to hear and observe what's not said. To hear and observe what's not said. Now, it's interesting because for most of us, we think, well, I've got to be great at listening to what they say. I need to be great at hearing them. I need to be great at observing what they do. But the reality is, we, for the most part, need to really be able to understand and observe and hear and listen for what the other person is not saying. Because for most of us, think about this. Think about your own life and how you have your own conversations. For most people, most humans, we want to protect ourselves. We want safety. We want security. We don't want to be so vulnerable. Being vulnerable is such a big topic now in leadership, in our ability to connect more powerfully with people, because it's not easy. I can tell you right now, if being vulnerable was easy, it wouldn't be such a hot topic. It wouldn't be such an important topic in today's world. But it's tough. It's difficult to be vulnerable. It's not natural. It's not innate to us as human beings to want to open up and reveal ourselves and who we are and our true thoughts and feelings and beliefs and ideas and perspectives. It's just not natural, and we don't want to do it. We're not inclined to act that way. So the reason I mention all of that is to say that we need to observe what's not said, because most of the people we're speaking with are not telling us their whole story. It's like an iceberg. I can use this, I guess. Think of it like an iceberg, and I know you know what an iceberg looks like, but it's like, here's the water, here's the tip of the iceberg, and this is what most people see, but the reality is that there's all of this other iceberg going on below the surface. But for the most part, this is what we see, and for the most part, this is where people have their conversations. Isn't it true? I mean, in your experience as a leader or someone who aspires to be a great leader, have you realized that most conversations happen above the surface level, above the water, and you're only getting this fraction of what truly exists, the gold, the passion, the energy, the excitement, the thoughts, the feelings, the beliefs of the people that you speak with, that you engage with, that you interact with. So if we can become great, I don't just mean good, I mean actually great. I need to erase this so I can write in the next one. I mean great at actually hearing what's not said. And the reason I also put observe in here, the reason this part is also here, is because for the most part, and we'll talk about this in future videos, and I've talked about it in past videos, but body language and reading and understanding people, not just from what they say, but how they say it, and also how they're moving, how they're using their body and their face as they're speaking. That will tell you so much. That'll tell you if they're actually hiding things below the surface or not. And that's not the crux of today's video, but I do want to just encourage you, to remind you that to become a great leader, to improve yourself if you already feel you're a great leader, is to understand that we truly need to understand and listen for and watch for what's not said. Because once we understand that what's not being said is vitally important to the conversation and to getting the end results that we truly want, based on the reasons that we have for having the conversation, once we know there's stuff not being said, then we can ask questions to start to uncover the portion that hasn't yet been uncovered. And if we can start to ask questions to uncover the portion that has not yet been uncovered, then we position ourselves and the person that we're interacting with to open up a more enriched world. We open ourselves and the person in the conversation as a whole to even more possibility, even more potential. And once we start to recognize and just remember in every conversation, there are things that are not being said, that need brought out of the other person in order to truly reflect what's going on and in order to truly create the results that are desired and needed for you, the other person, and those who will be affected by the results of that conversation. And one way we need to do that I think is something that most leaders, most people generally speaking, are not willing to do. Are not willing to do this third point, and that's why I think it's so vitally important for this conversation about how to be more effective, to become better at asking questions if you want to be a great leader. And it's this third one that I'm about to share with you that changes everything. It changes everything for anybody who wants to be a great communicator, great at influencing, and ultimately meaning a great leader. Because if you can do this third thing, this will change the way that you interact with people, and not just the way you interact, but it will absolutely significantly transform the way people view you. It will transform the way people feel about you. It'll transform the way that you leave a conversation. It'll transform how you show up. It'll transform the way people believe in you, and it'll make people truly, honestly, want you to be in their lives more often. If we're a great leader, we should aspire to desire people to have people desire to have us in their life more often. Because if we're a great leader, that means people want us, need us, and want our help and guidance and mentorship and perspective and support along the way. And this third one is not easy, and not many people do it, but I'm telling you, if you start to do this third point, it'll change everything. And it's this: challenge the other person or the other people you're speaking with. Challenge. What do I mean by that? What I'm saying is, as these things that are under the surface are not being said, we need to challenge it. We need to observe it, and we need to recognize it and say, it seems like what you're saying is this, but what I feel like you're truly saying, or what you truly feel that I'm not actually hearing you technically say out loud, but you're probably thinking, is this. Is that true? And not just challenge people to bring forth what they believe, but to challenge people to believe and think differently. I mean, if a conversation can transform the way we view the world for the better, and it can help us to have a more positive, empowering impact for the people that we serve, aren't those the kinds of conversations that we truly need to be having in this world? We need to be having these conversations where people say, you know what? I'm challenged by the person that's leading me. I'm challenged by you, the person having the conversation. If people can start saying they feel challenged by you, not challenged in the sense of you make them struggle and you make life more difficult for them, but challenged in the sense of helping them to really put themselves on the line, to put their thoughts and beliefs on the line, and to really view the world in a way that maybe they haven't viewed it before, to look at things slightly differently, just differently enough that maybe it helps them to break through to a new level of experience in life, to a new level of their own leadership, to a new level of their own greatness and appreciation for this life. You see, I think if more of us took the time and made ourselves willing, not just willing, but made it a priority to challenge the people that we have conversations with, to challenge their beliefs, to challenge the way they view things, I think what we'll find is we start to expand their view of the world and what's possible for them. And in challenging them, we also challenge ourselves, because we can't say something without thinking it. We can't say something without internalizing it in some capacity, consciously or subconsciously most often. And if we start to challenge other people's views and beliefs, not in a demeaning way, not in a confrontational way, but challenging in a way that helps people expand what's possible, to enrich their world. If we start to do that for other people, we will absolutely naturally be doing it for ourselves. We will challenge our own views. We'll get ourselves to actually consciously, intentionally think about the way we view the world. And if we can do that, we can expand more of what's possible for ourselves. And therein lies the opportunity to expand our ability to lead more powerfully, more effectively, more influentially, with more inspiration in our soul, in a way that injects that inspiration into other people. So let's move on to point number 4. I'm going to go ahead and erase this briefly. So what I'd like you to do is make sure you're taking notes on this. So write these things down. If you haven't yet hit pause, make sure you write this down or think about it while I erase this, and I'll be back in a split second. Actually, I'll go ahead and fast forward this so you can see the next 2 points that I have to make. The last 2 points I have to make, which will be the icing on the cake for this conversation. So stick with me here. Let's keep going. All right, here we go. Number 4 in the 5-part framework for how to become better at asking questions as a great leader. Number 4, ask opinion questions. Ask opinion questions. Do you like giving your opinion? Do you like dropping in your 2 cents? Whether you actually say it to another human being or just keep it in your own head, do you have your own opinions on pretty much everything in this world that you've ever thought about? Do you have your own opinions? Yes or no? Yes or no? Absolutely. We all have our own opinions on everything that we have ever experienced. Some opinions are a lot more in-depth than others. Some are like, oh yeah, I like that, or I don't like that. Some are like, I loathe this thing because, or I totally am falling in love with this concept because, or this experience because, or this person because, and we have feelings and opinions about everything. And what do you think would happen if we started to uncover the opinions of the people that we lead? What would happen? Could we understand them better? Could we better interpret and appreciate their view of the world? Could we start to recognize that they're human too? And just like us, they have their own views and opinions and perspectives on this world. And as soon as we start to ask questions that allow people to share their opinion, that allows them to open up. And as soon as people start to open up, the people we lead, our clients, our team, our employees, they start to open up, what happens? Let's go back to this conversation about vulnerability. When people are vulnerable with you or you are vulnerable with other people, there's this greater level of intimate connection that happens. Why? Because psychologically, we've opened ourselves up and we've taken ourselves out of this safe place, out of our comfort zone, totally out of our comfort zone. When we're sharing our opinions, even though most people would love to share their opinion on everything and most people are willing to, it still takes that relationship to a deeper level because it's not a yes-no, simple binary question interaction. It's deeper than that. It's more intimate than that. You give someone the opportunity, the space to talk about things they care about, not just things they care about, but the opinions that they have, the views, their beliefs, and that allows us to understand people better, number one. Number two, it allows us to connect deeper with those people that we're interacting with. So what I'd offer to you is it's a great opportunity to, there are many different kinds of questions you can ask, but as soon as you start to ask opinion questions, meaning asking someone what they think about a topic or an idea or a circumstance or a situation or an end result or a mission that your company's on or a project that you're working on together or specific aspect of that project, as soon as we give people the runway, the space, the freedom to express their opinions, we totally transform and change that interaction, and we gain so much insight and understanding of who that person is. So I'd offer to you, as you're becoming better at questions, make sure you start to practice utilizing opinion questions. And don't just ask them with the opportunity to judge them on their opinion, but ensure that when you ask opinion questions, you are leaving the space open and you're staying open-minded to what they say, to understanding that it is their opinion, their perspective, and we need to appreciate and respect it if we're going to move the ball forward, if we're going to move the needle, if we're going to make progress with that conversation, if we're going to make an impact with the results of that conversation, we need to stay open to other people's opinions. And then to round out this 5-part structure for how to become better at asking questions as a great leader, this last point really is a combination of most of what we talked about so far and the crux of how to become great, extraordinarily great at asking questions, to be a great leader. It's something that most people aren't willing to do, just like the challenge concept. It's something most people are not willing to do, but if you're willing to step up and do this last point more and more often, number one, you're going to become better at it. Number two, you're truly going to have transforming conversations. You're going to have conversations that totally change people's lives and change the outcomes that you and that person in your company, your team are creating by doing this. Go deep. Go deep. Point number 5, go deep. Most people are not willing to put themselves in line. Most people are not willing to uncover the truths, the deep beliefs, the perspectives, the desires, the fears of the people that they have conversations with. And what I'd encourage you with is this. If you're willing to step up and be that kind of person who wants and desires and will go deep in asking questions, asking things about the people, what they care about, what they desire, what they're truly afraid of in life, what obstacles they have, what they're truly just not desiring to experience in this world, what really holds them back. If you're willing to ask the questions that get people to open up about these fears and dreams and hopes and things that excite them, you're going to go to a different level of connection with those people. And when you do that, you can become a great leader. When you do that, you are a great leader. In fact, when you do that, you position you and that other person to create even greater results as a team together through that conversation. What I'd offer to you is not many people are willing to do this. Not many people are willing to become great at asking questions. If you can become a person who wants to become and does become great at asking questions by practicing, by intentionally putting in the effort and the energy to become great at asking questions, you will propel yourself forward faster than most people can. Because the ability to ask effective questions and listen well, and to dig deep, and to really truly understand the other person you're working with, those are the qualities, characteristics that it take to become a great leader. And when you do that, when you become a great leader, you can transform even more lives. You can reach even more people with your message, with your work, with your products and services, and you can change even more lives. You can improve even more lives. You can make a bigger difference in this world. So my friend, I'd encourage you to go out there and become great at asking questions if you truly desire to become the great leader that you were born to be, that you're destined to be. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Tell me, what's the number one thing that you've taken from this time that we've just spent together that's been important and vital for you and will be important and vital for you going forward, that you'll implement and utilize, that you will implement and utilize. Because by the way, just gathering this information in a video is never enough. If you truly desire to transform your life, to change your life, to become a great leader, you have to make the decision to take action. You have to make the decision to be someone that takes the information and then executes with it. So tell me below, what are you going to execute on? Based on this information, based on everything I've just shared today, these 5 specific components of this structure, this framework that I've shared with you to become a better person at asking questions, to become more effective at asking questions, what will you take away? Tell me in the comments below. And what are you going to do going forward to become a great leader, the one you're meant to be, that you're destined to be? I'd love to hear from you. And you can find my contact information in the description below, and you can also find the other platforms on which you can follow me and stay in touch and contact and reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to continue to inspire and encourage you and share with you some tips and strategies that I know can absolutely help you to become a great leader. So stay in touch, subscribe to this channel if you enjoy it and you want some more, and always like it. Like the video if you like it. Look forward to chatting with you next time, and until then, have fun and be awesome.
Hey, no, no, no. Hey, no, no, no. Hey, no, no, no. Hey, hey, no. Hey, no, no, no.